Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are looking at the Tier 10 Kremlin, the Russian battleship. Finally got it. Actually, I've been really short on money, so it took me a while to actually get it. I really blame the Research Bureau, spending a lot of money on going through the line, but I finally got the Kremlin, the Tier 10. I am joined with Chen in the Udaloy and Yudachi in the Stalingrad, so we're all, Russian. Gonna send everyone to Gulag. And we are playing on Islands of Ice, playing Epicenter. And let's talk about the Kremlin, because the Kremlin's actually gonna be nerfed here soon at some point. Isn't really specified when exactly. But eventually its penetration is supposed to be reduced, as well as some other features. So if you don't have the Kremlin, highly recommend it. Get it as soon as you can because, well, you definitely want to play the ship. Starting off, Kremlin, it's kind of sneaky for its size, 14.1 kilometers. I'm trying to think if whether or not this captain's actually fully retrained. Actually, I don't believe he is. Once again, kind of the moving of the captain, not enough commander XP to completely redo it. So your detect is going to be a little bit less than 14.1. This is not a fully retrained captain, now that I'm thinking about it. Range is 20.7 kilometers, which is decent. I mean, it's nothing compared to any of the other tier 10 battleships, but as usual with all the other Soviet battleships, you're not really going to be firing at long range. Your dispersion really isn't that good. I mean, yeah, you can still lob shells, you can still get citadels, you can still do damage, but it's just not as accurate as you would probably like. So you do have to be careful. Keep that in mind. Now, obviously, optimal range for the Kremlin is around 10 to 12 kilometers. Anything within that, your shells are far more accurate. Did try my luck at shooting the Mogador. Just try to help Chen out there a little bit. Our Benson is really, really screwed right there. Now, we are playing Epicenter, so that does mean controlling the center ring, or any of the rings, is extremely beneficial. So that's by far what I'm doing. I'm following our friendly Stalingrad, see if he can offer assistance. And let's see, we could probably shot at that Stalingrad, and I probably should have. Yes. Now, the turret traverse is what's scary, probably the most scary, besides obviously the second largest shell in the game, 457 millimeters, and the fantastic dispersion up close, is how fast those turrets traverse. They are very quick on the turn time, which is really fantastic. Rudder shift time is it's slow, it's not impressive, but it does have that very nice ability to slow down at fairly quick speed. Unfortunately, not a lot of ships are really showing me broadside right now. But once again, this is the strength of the Kremlin, is pushing and being aggressive. Of course, you can overestimate the enemy's capabilities and obviously get yourself screwed over. Because the side armor on the Kremlin is lackluster. It's very thin, very easy to get citadeled. So you definitely don't want to be showing that broadside very often. I hate to say it, it's very reminiscent of how the Stalingrad plays. It's going to be pretty much sitting bow in, because just like the Stalingrad, it has very weak side armor. So if anything, any enemy that gets on your flank, you're going to go melted down very quickly with AP, so you do have to be extremely careful. Now, obviously, there are a few destroyers around. We did see that the Kagero just popped back up. Kagero does possibly have torpedoes reloaded. I'm actually kind of curious if he does. It does look like our Georgia might have bitten off more than he could chew. See, that's the thing. You don't want to do what that Georgia just did, pushing in and just getting focused down by the enemy team. Really not the best idea, to be perfectly frank. But once again, this is kind of what the Kremlin's good at, is holding down a position. It has very thick deck armor, It has very good AA, so you can weather any HE spamming or planes incoming. Obviously, we're not going to see any planes at this time. Shell velocity is very fast, so you don't have to lead too much, even against a Georgia. Shots off. That Georgia is showing a lot of broadside. There we go. Netted ourselves a Citadel, 23,000 points of damage right off the bat. But even though the Kremlin's very powerful, it's not my most favorite battleship. I'm not doubting its potential, its strength. It's just not my favorite battleship. I prefer the Republic, probably more so than anything. Hell, even the Kurfürst I enjoy, just because it's a different playstyle. Kremlin, it's very similar to Yamato. It's probably another way to really say it. It's very similar to the Yamato's gameplay, but at much closer ranges, which obviously puts it at more greater danger from enemy torpedoes, but very similar playstyle to the Yamato. So our team is not doing particularly great. We're currently down a ship. Fortunately, they've lost 2 of theirs, and that was the Mogador and Tashkent, I believe, that died over there. So, fortunately for us, our enemies don't have a lot of destroyers. They still have the Krigero, which is currently being focused down. Now, this is kind of the issue with the Kremlin, is if you get in a position where you can get crossfired, you really can't do much. You can push, which I am going to try to attempt here because the enemy have lost their Kagero. No one's spotting, so I can actually start to push up. And honestly, the Kremlin's probably a very good point spear. It's with its very thick bow armor, it does have the very nice capabilities of actually pushing in and being aggressive. Now, did attempt shooting the Georgia. Obviously, you do have to be careful. There is still a Stalingrad and a Missouri down to the south of us, and even though the indicator does not show that I am being targeted, I am in fact being targeted, as you can see there. So pushing in now, we have a nice rock protecting our broadside. Moskva is just spamming HE. Did have to use that damage control, and now as the usual, that damage control is no longer, well, you only have a limited amount of charge. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess. Did a decent chunk of damage against that Moskva. But as you can see, the enemy team is going to start to get crossfired, hoping to get shots at that Vladivostok. And the enemy team's not really playing to the objective. We have control of the 2 inner rings, and granted, they're preventing us from capturing the outer ring. They're not doing anything to prevent us from actually capturing the middle. Now, I might do another replay with the Kremlin. I just want to at least kind of give you my initial thoughts on it. I would like to play a little bit more before I give you my full final breakdown. But once again, it's not particularly my style. I've always disliked the Moskva, Stalingrad, and the Kremlin plays almost exactly like them. Stalingrad, if you have the Stalingrad, you're playing very similar to how the Kremlin plays. It's just how the ship plays. It just cannot get outpositioned, essentially, what it comes down to. It shows it hits hard, like I said, which is really fantastic. Dispersion, it's Russian battleship. Honestly, once you get to the Soyuz and maybe even the Vladivostok, you're gonna have similar experiences with the Kremlin. It's probably the best way to really explain it. Yeah, it does have that higher gun capacity, but once again, it really comes down to whether or not the enemies are going to be pushing in towards you. It's probably not a ship that can really really go after kiting enemies, because it really can't handle trying to chase down an enemy, because at long range the enemy is gonna be able to hit you far more accurately. And as you can see, we are going to win this battle. Not a very impressive battle for me. I believe this was actually my very first game with the Kremlin. Like I said, we'll take another look at it later. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jen.